have less conflict in relationships and less chaos and drama. That is the best one. Like, if I could say, what is the best thing about having strong boundaries? There's no fucking drama in my life. Like, nobody messes with me. Like, they don't fucking mess with me.
Shh. Welcome to the Secret Life Podcast. Tell me your secret. I'll tell you mine.
Sometimes you have to go through the darkness to reach the light. That's what I did. After 12 years of recovery in sex and love addiction, I finally found my soulmate, myself. Please join me in my novel, Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict, a 4-time bestseller on Amazon. It's a brutal, honest, raw, gnarly ride, but hilarious at the same time. Check it out now on Amazon. Welcome to Secret Life Podcast. I'm Brianne Davis-Gantt. Today I'm pulling back the curtains of all kinds of human secrets. You'll hear about what people are hiding from themselves or others. You know, those deep, dark secrets you probably want to take to your grave, or those lighter, funnier secrets that are just plain embarrassing. Each week, we take a deep dive into one subject, exploring the how, what, when, where, and why of it all. Get ready for a more focused and revealing journey of the human experience. I am so excited for this new chapter of Secret Life, and I'm so thrilled for you to join the ride. And today, we are talking about, dun, 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 the 6 types of boundaries. Did you know there was 6? I bet you didn't. I bet you just thought a boundary was a boundary, but that is not true. There are 6. I like to work on 6, and I never tell my clients, hey, we're working on the 6 types of boundaries. I just literally say, you need boundaries. You have no boundaries. You are boundaryless. And here's the deal. If you have any trauma in your life, if you have instability in your childhood, if you have attachment issues, especially anxious attachment, if you are always looking for an outside person to fix you, you probably lack boundaries, especially if you're a codependent. All my codependents out there, raise your hand. You know who I'm talking to. You guys know who I'm talking to. You people pleasers, you have no boundaries whatsoever. You cannot say no. It is like impossible. Just say no. Say no if you don't want to do anything. Just that boundary they have a problem with. So I wanted to do this. I know that I did a podcast a while ago, Silence is the Ultimate Boundary. But I really wanted to deep dive into, since I've tightened my boundaries, and I feel like every 6 months I reevaluate my boundaries and I tighten them. And I go, I need that to be a little stronger. I need to back up or make that even more clear that that is my boundary. So I wanted to do the 6 types. So here they go. We got physical boundary, intellectual boundary, emotional boundary, sexual boundary, time boundary. That's a big one. A lot of people don't focus on, immaterial boundary. So let's start. What are the benefits of boundaries? And then I'm going to jump into each of those. The benefits of boundaries. Let's see, you have your relationships are more healthy. You have more compassion. You have greater assertiveness within self. Your needs are met. The other person's needs are usually more fulfilled. There's less resentment, less anger. You feel more at peace, more safety in the relationship. You have time and energy to do things that nourish your body, your mind, your spirit. You feel more respect for yourself and others, have less conflict in relationships and less chaos and drama. That is the best one. Like, if I could say, what is the best thing about having strong boundaries? There's no fucking drama in my life. Like, nobody messes with me. Like, they don't fucking mess with me. And if people are always messing with you, or you're like, why does that person keep fucking with me? Or why do people keep messing with me? It's because you don't have any boundaries and you don't make them clear. So do that one. You feel more respect for yourself and there's less conflict in your life. It improves your communication. You have a greater self-esteem. There's less anxiety and stress. Your confidence increases and you feel understood and accepted by the people in your life, family, friends, your partner. So those are fucking amazing benefits. So set some boundaries. So I just want to do those first. Those are all the things you can get from having and setting and holding healthy boundaries. So that's why you need to do these, because you need boundaries to have a healthy, happy, serene, peaceful life. And yes, happiness is not my ever goal for anything. Happiness is fleeting, life on life's terms, right? So bad shit happens and you can't stay happy. You have to deal with it. But the point I'm trying to make is like serene and peaceful. Serene and peaceful. That's our goal. So when you have healthy boundaries and you set them and hold them, that's what happens in your life. Here we go. Physical boundaries. Physical boundaries. This is my body. You do not touch it. You do not shake my hand, hug me. You do not touch me if I don't want you to touch me. And I feel like this is really important with people that are dating. You have a right to say, yeah, no, I don't want to kiss you at the end of this date. I had a client I was working with, a young girl. She started healthy dating. I call it sober dating. It's not with alcohol, sober dating in a healthy way. I'm changing the wording to healthy dating now, intentional dating. And she didn't like the guy, but he leaned in and she let him kiss her. And I looked at her afterwards when we did our, it's a check-in, it's a after date check-in. And she said, I don't know why I did that. And I said, because you're not holding your physical boundary. And that you felt obligated because he bought you dinner or because he leaned in, that you didn't want to hurt his feelings. We went through all of it and it was like, she was just like, yeah, and I didn't want to, and I did it anyways. And it's like, you get to say, no, I don't kiss on the first date, or no, that's not where I'm feeling this connection. Thank you so much for a lovely time. It was lovely to meet you. I wish you all the best. Like, you are allowed to say no. And that is, this is my personal space, too, in my space. Even with my son, when he gets in my personal space sometimes, and I know with kids, like they can sometimes crowd you, but I say, whoa, dude, you're in my personal space right now. And it's feeling suffocating at this moment. Like, can you back up just a little? I'm trying to help you put on your pants and you're like literally in my face. And so I'm allowed, even with my own child, to have physical boundaries. Like if he jumps on me and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like you jumping on me. It doesn't feel good to my nervous system. And he gets it. And I said, what if I just randomly jumped on you, Davis? Would you like that? And he's like, no. So I'm even teaching my son, this is your body. You get to decide what happens to it. You get to hold that space. It's about respect, privacy, if I want closeness, and who touches me. Okay, intellectual boundaries. Let's go there. This is how you can let people, and I was just talking to another client about politics, talking about those issues or society issues or racial issues, gender. She was talking to a friend about political thing and talking to a guy she was dating about gender inequality. He felt it was getting like shifted, right? So I said to her, you can choose what to have a conversation and with the conversation. You can have a preference, how you relate to others, their opinions, their thoughts, and conversational topics that you want to share and how you want it handled. And you are allowed to say, yeah, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't see us meeting eye to eye. You can have your opinion, I can have mine, and that's okay. And going back over and letting the poison in is what I call it. People are allowed their opinions. I'm totally fine. Anybody can have their opinion, but I get to hold my space of how I take that opinion in. And if I want to have that poison in my nervous system, in my body. And so you can hold that space even with a person you're dating and a friend saying, yeah, I don't want to discuss that with you. Can we change the subject? When we talk about this, I don't feel like we see eye to eye, and that's okay. But I just don't want to have this conversation over and over again. And I always say, you have to look at them as what their thoughts and opinions go through their filter, and yours go through your filter. And they're allowed their thoughts and opinions, but it doesn't mean you have to hear them all the time. Emotional boundaries. Yay, my favorite, emotional boundaries. What, when, where, and how we allow a person to share their emotional life with us. You are not a dumping bag for someone else's trauma. You are not a dumping bag for someone else's bad day. You are not a trash bag for other people's shit. Be very diligent what you allow in your space emotionally. When someone keeps putting their emotional garbage on you, I call it emotional raping you, over and over again, are you doing it to others? I did it to others all the time. I literally would call and put my shit on people all the time. And if they couldn't fix it or make me feel better, I would go to the next person and then the next person. I had no emotional boundaries. I just dumped all my crap on everybody else. And now I see that's not okay. I can't do that anymore. And other people can't do it to me. I am not an emotional garbage bag. You cannot bring me your emotional stuff over and over again and have me try to fix it for you. You are responsible for holding your emotional well-being, whether you're in turmoil or not. That is what your nervous system needs to work out to regulate itself. Every time if you reach out and put your shit on somebody else, you are not sitting within yourself and actually allowing yourself to process and work through that emotion and that trauma, and you're giving it to somebody else. Now, working with me, working with a therapist, working with other people, you're going to a specific specialist to work through that. I'm talking about people in your life, friends, families, loves. Mark and I have a rule. We don't emotionally dump on each other. We don't do it. It's not good for our relationship. It doesn't help each other at all. It doesn't help us grow. Okay. And so how I hold my emotions is my boundary responsibility, and how I put them on other people is also a boundary. So, and how they put it on me. So holding that has been a game changer. It is my ultimate favorite boundary. Sexual boundary. Here we go. Talking about sex, especially before a first date. Oh my God, I just dealt with this last night. If anybody is texting you about a thong or what you're wearing or anything like that, before you go on a date with them, red flag, they already crossing your sexual boundaries. Before you meet somebody, or if you just start dating with somebody, if you allow them to cross that sexual boundary, immediately the respect is gone and you're not respecting yourself, even if you are fine with being sexual right away. But the point is sexual boundaries are so important. When, where, how sexual material presents itself. You need to work that out, especially if you're in recovery for sex and love addiction, attachment style, codependency, using people, a fantasy addict, a love addict, twin flame, soulmate, obsession kind of person. I'm going to put it in all these forms. You love rom-coms. I'm talking to you. Look at where, when, how you would like sexual material presented to you. Sexual flirty talk, when to have sex, how if the person's intensity about talking about sex, intensity about holding hands, flirting, kissing. You need to figure that out so you know where your sexual boundaries sit. And then obviously consent to have sex. I also think jokes, sexual jokes. There needs to be boundaries around sexual jokes. Sorry, people will be like, oh my God, you are so, what did they say? Like now, censored. It's like, yeah, I don't want to walk down the street anymore and have anybody make sexual jokes as me as a woman. Sorry, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. It is not your right to make sexual, demeaning jokes or even flirtatious jokes to anybody. That is not your right as a human being, and a man especially. I don't know a lot of women that do that. A man to do that. And women out there, don't sexualize the men. I have so many women like, oh my God, his abs. Oh my God, this, but he was at the gym. And all these women obsessed with guys at the gym. I said, you're no better than the guys gawking at the girls walking down the streets in shorts. Stop sexualizing other people and using them as sexual objects. So you need to look at where your sexual boundaries about other people are being crossed and how you like to be respected, and then do it for the other person. Here is another one of my favorite time boundaries. Time. Stop being fucking lazy and flaky and not on time, and respect your time and other people's time. I am I have had multiple friends, multiple ones before I worked on myself 15 years ago, multiple friends throughout the years, not show up on time, cancel. I was one of these people. So I have, like, I can say I've canceled, I've flaked, I didn't show. I'm always on time, but I canceled on people all the time. I would make plans with them and cancel. I try not to do that anymore unless it's emergency or a work emergency comes up, or my son, obviously. But the flakiness, being 10 minutes late, 5 minutes late, 15 minutes late, over and over again, that is not, you do not have a time boundary. And that's a respect issue. That's a respect issue for yourself and for others, and how you relate to their time and your time. So you really need to start looking at time is a boundary. Time is a boundary. If you're running late, you're not respecting their boundaries and you're not respecting your own when you said you were going to be there. And last but not least, material boundaries, how you treat possessions and property, your own. How do you treat your stuff? How do you treat it? Do you throw it? Do you not care about stuff? It's not that I think materialism is important, but if you work hard or something is given to you and then you just throw it and treat it badly, that's you not having a boundary for material things and not respecting it. I teach my son this. He throws his toys. I'm like, yeah, that's not respecting your stuff. We work really hard and we buy you this. And if you break it, you're not getting another. You need to respect your stuff. You need to keep it clean. You need to put it back. If it goes outside and in the dirt, it stays outside. And it's respect of property. Then it has you grow up and respect your own space and really take pride in your own space and then other people's space. I have people that go and stay with other people and they just leave their shit all over other people's houses. And it's not respecting other people's stuff. Coming into somebody's house, not respecting their stuff, their space. You need to look at where you don't have boundaries around material possessions and other people's property, and wherein you doesn't think you deserve that. So those are the top 6 boundaries. Now, how do we set these boundaries? So let's look at that real quick. Understand why it's important to have these boundaries, right? Why is this important? Where do I lack in my life? Where am I not stepping up for myself? Decide what you want, what you're okay with, because my boundaries are going to be different than your boundaries. When I ever do boundaries with people, I never put my boundaries on them. I'm like, what works for you? What do you want? What is your idea of a healthy relationship? Not mine. Keep things simple, brief, direct, simple. Don't go into explanation. A simple no is okay. No, that doesn't work for me. No. Take it slow. Do small boundaries first. Don't go in guns a-blazing, huge things. Take it slow. Do small little ones first and get your nervous system ready and set to start making these boundaries. Because your nervous system, when you start making boundaries, gets freaked out and you go into fear, oh my God, these people, I'm not gonna have those friends anymore. So start slow, and you have to be consistent. Once you set a boundary, if you do not respect that boundary and you go back on it, the other person won't respect you. So be consistent. Set reasonable consequences. Don't say, if you don't do this, I'm going to break up with you, or I'm going to divorce you, or we're not going to be friends anymore. You got to make a small, reasonable consequence. If you do this, I'm sorry, but I can't keep making plans with you if you keep flaking on me. It's not okay. It hurts my feelings. Instead of going, well, we can't be friends if you keep doing this. I'm not going to have you in my life anymore. It's F you. That's not how you set a boundary. Focus on me. I always focus on me. This is a boundary for me, not the other person. It really upsets me when you're flaky because it makes me feel not important. And so when we set a time, can you please show up on time? Make it about me, something you need, and communicate your needs. Use your voice. Use your voice. And then most importantly, respect other people's boundaries. Because if you don't respect their boundaries, they're not going to respect yours. So you can't set a bunch of boundaries. And then if you don't respect theirs, you have unrealistic expectations and you're not being accountable for yourself. So be accountable for yourself. If you're going to move into this adult version of yourself with boundaries and having this, because boundaries are this beautiful, safe place for you to live in freely. When you don't have boundaries, you're like floundering in the ocean almost, like, and everything hits you and everything. When you have boundaries, it's like a safety box that you can move freely in. So people always like, boundaries are like not natural. You can't go with the flow. And it's like, no, boundaries actually, it's freedom. Boundaries give you freedom. In the relationship, you know where to go and not go. You don't upset people because you know how they feel and you feel, and it gives you this freedom in the relationship. So I hope that helps. Thank you for listening to Secret Life Podcast. I love to hear your thoughts of this week's topic. Let me know if there's something you want to talk about. Send me a note at secretlifepodcast@icloud.com. Until next time.
Thanks again for listening to the show. Please subscribe, rate, share, or send me a note at secretlifepodcast.com. And if you like to check out my book, head over to secretlifenovel.com or Amazon to pick up a copy for yourself or someone you love. Thanks again. See you soon.